Wyatt Earp, brave, courageous, and bold. Long live his fame, and long live his glory, and long may his story be told.
The killing of Skinner Smith, Lone Shark, Skinflint, and the most disliked man in Dodge City presented Marshal Earp with the strangest murder mystery of his career. Public opinion was all on the side of the murderer. People thought Skinner Smith deserved killing, and Wyatt found himself almost alone in his determination to solve the case.
Well, we just want to see if Skinner's really dead.
Too good to be true.
Be a good sport, Mr. Gibbs. Let us in.
Nope. Wyatt and Doc McCarty's in there. I got strict orders to keep all of you out. Now, why don't you move along? Get along.
Well?
Let's just say he died of heart failure. And good riddance.
Doc? It was poison, wasn't it?
I guess so. Well, this town loathed him. Skinner Smith had it coming.
Well, it's not for you or I to say. My job's to find out how he got that poison.
Wyatt, can't you let it drop?
Nope.
All right. Here. I found it in his hand.
Plug of chewing tobacco. The killer poison this?
I suspect so. Just call it heart failure. Save a lot of trouble.
You can't do that. You're the coroner. Now, is there any way of testing this for poison?
Look, Wyatt. Smith was the meanest man in Dodge. If you do find the one responsible for this, he'll be a public hero. Why get involved? I'm willing to sign the death certificate.
You just think you are. Look, I don't know anything good about Smith either. But murder's murder, and we're public officials.
All right. It'll take me a half a day to test for poison. But as you say, I'm coroner, and I get paid $10 a month.
You never signed a phony death certificate in your life. Now do your duty, coroner.
All right, you folks move back and let the doctor. Stay back here. Hey, cut that out and go about your business. Loudmouth busybodies.
Doc thinks he was poisoned.
Strychnine?
He's making an analysis.
I hope it is strychnine. Got any idea who done it?
No? But you take these pawn tickets and work on them. I'll work on the ledger. We got to list his clients.
You want me to arrest everybody in town who admits they threatened they wanted to kill Skinner?
No, Mr. Gibbs, but just try and find somebody that had a fight with him recently.
Well, I'll have to arrest myself then.
You?
You want to hear some of the names I called Skinner?
Not right now, Mr. Gibbs. Come on, let's go to work. All right, back up. You pawned your saddle to him. And later on, I heard you threatened to kill him.
Sure. I threatened to kill him. He sold my saddle because I was 2 days late in redeeming it.
But you didn't kill him?
Nope. Just never got around to it, Marshal.
And that isn't all, Mr. Earp. Skinner charged me $5 a week interest on the ring. When I paid him off, I found out that he'd put a phony diamond in place of the real one.
Why didn't you come to me about this?
It's his word against mine. I figured that when my gentleman friend got in from the drive, he'd even things with Skinner.
Yes, sir, I did say he ought to be shot.
Why?
He dug up an old note that he said, "Dear Miss Dora, may God rest her lovely soul," still owed him. I tore it up and slapped his face.
Yeah. One of nature's noblemen, Skinner Smith.
I wish you'd be practical. If you did find the man who did it, how would you get a jury to convict him?
Well, that's their job, Mr. Kelly. My duty's done when I bring the murder to trial.
Bad cess to you. That's Irish for hoping you never solve the case.
Oh, I'll solve it. I'm stubborn that way. Thank you, Mr. Kelly.
Honey, where's your buggy?
Around the corner. What's wrong? there's no one here, you can tell me now.
I've saved enough money. Why don't we get married?
That again.
Yeah. Only this time, I've got to get out of town, Janie.
Clark, you're not in any trouble at the bank, are you?
No, of course not. It's... Well, I'm asking you to trust me, Janie. To marry me now, today.
Clark, you know that's impossible. Grandpa had another spell with his heart this morning.
Grandpa. It's always Grandpa.
He hasn't much longer, Clark. I'm the only one he has to take care of him.
I'm sorry. He doesn't think much of me, but I'm right fond of him.
Well, I don't defend Grandpa. He has some notions that I ought to marry a soldier or a fighting marshal like Mr. Earp. Clark, I love you, but you're going to have to be patient and understand.
All right. I'll try.
Not here, please. You better get back inside.
See those crystals? Prussic acid, and perhaps some strychnine. Enough to kill a horse. One bite at that plug did for Skinner.
You found any suspects?
Couple of dozen. Haven't talked to a man or woman that isn't a suspect.
Come in.
Well, how'd you make out?
Oh, I talked to about 20 people. They all denied killing him, but they regretted being so shiftless and lazy.
The only way you can narrow it down is to find someone who had access to poison in undiluted form.
What about your patients, Doctor? Don't you prescribe strychnine, prussic acid?
Very small amounts. I couldn't help you anyway. Confidential relation between doctor and patient.
Yeah. Well, what are you so cheerful about?
Killing Skinner is a public service. I think Doc done it.
Arrest me, Marshal.
Gentlemen, murder is not funny. Mr. Gibbs, you and the deputies don't get any time off until we solve this case.
You know, Doc, I believe in enforcing the law with reasonable moderation. Old Wyatt there, he's got the stern moral character of a bloodhound.
I will have to help him, Shotgun. He is right, you know.
I know he is. Doc, you got any smart ideas on this thing?
No, but I'll check my records. 11 patients to see, and I play detective. Give Wyatt a tip. Suggest that he look on the respectable side of town. This is no tramp's job.
Thank you, Doc.
Grandfather, you stop that right now. You know Dr. McCarty told you not to do any work.
Oh, I've been a hard-working man all my life, and now I can't even fix a little chair.
Now, don't you go giving me any trouble. I've had enough with Clark.
He's still pestering you about marrying him?
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you're so set on it, go ahead.
Well, I'm not, but I am worried.
Hmm?
Well, something's wrong with Clark. He's acting strange. He wants me to marry him and leave Dodge right away.
Oh. It can't be that he's stealing from a bank. That'd take a certain amount of courage.
Well, Clark has courage. Too much courage.
Fush now.
He is. He's been gambling.
Euchre for penny ante.
No, poker with some cattlemen in a back room at the Dodge Hotel.
Maybe he did kill Skinner Smith.
Grandpa, that's not a very nice joke.
Nope. And I ain't a very nice old man. I wish Clark had killed him. I'd have more respect for the boy.
Did you take your medicine today, Grandpa?
McCarty's pap? Smell my breath.
Oh, whiskey, Grandpa. So that's why you made that joke about Clark.
I'm as high as a hoot owl.
Oh, Grandpa.
Ms. Rod Morris, $15. All right, here's some bigger ones back here. J.B. Olson, $175. Alex Griffith, $200. You think we're getting any warmer on this?
Olson and Griffith, Mark paid?
Yeah, both of them.
Well, let's start on the delinquent accounts. Those are the ones that Skinner might have pushed too hard. Look. Clark borrowed $50 from Skinner May 18th. Paid it back with $20 interest, June 3rd.
Look at this one over here. Borrowed $100 from him a couple of weeks ago. Skinner's got him marked delinquent.
I better have a talk with Clark.
Well, don't do it at the bank. It might be a little embarrassing.
No, I'll...
Wyatt, Mr. Hookham says Clark just left on the eastbound stage. He ain't checked the cash yet, but he's afraid...
You watch the jail. Mr. Matthews, the bank thinks you ought to postpone your trip for a few days.
Thank you, Marshal. I told Mr. Holcomb I'd better wait.
Mr. Casey, would you hand his bag down? Give it to our friend Shotgun there. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Casey. Come on up here.
You know. Help!
You lost a lot of money gambling? You couldn't go to the bank to borrow it where you worked, so you borrowed it from Skinner Smith.
Paid Skinner every dime I owe him, and with interest.
Go on.
Then he started blackmailing me. Threatened to tell my boss I'd been gambling. I didn't kill him.
Well, I'm going to have to hold you.
I know it.
You better let me notify Miss Janey and Grandpa Logan.
Oh, no, sir. Please.
Well, they're going to find out about it anyway. You may need a lawyer.
Do you think I killed him, Mr. Earp?
Still haven't told me why you tried to run away.
No, sir. I never will.
Well, the law says you don't have to. Come on. Mr. Gibbs, I do feel you may need a lawyer. Mr. Gibbs, we're going to hold Mr. Matthews. Suspicion of murder. Put him in a cell by himself.
Son, why don't you make a clean breast of the whole thing?
Said all I'm going to say.
Janie, don't try it. Give me my rifle and I'll...
No, Grandpa, they might shoot at you. I'll get Clark out of there in 2 minutes.
Hello, Wyatt.
Hello, Doc.
Well, you probably arrested the right man.
No? Why do you say that?
He was one of my patients. Under oath in a murder trial, I'd have to testify that he had access to poison.
You missing any strychnine or prussic acid?
I'm not under oath yet. Oh, I hate this business.
Yeah, well, so do I. Maybe I can get him to confess. I'll have another try at it anyway. Thanks.
You're so welcome.
You give me those keys.
I ain't got them, sis.
Are you telling me the truth?
Marshal Earp has the keys.
Where'd he go?
Doc McCarty's. Why don't you rest yourself, Miss Janey? Them old big buffalo guns is mighty hefty for a gal like you to be lugging around.
Oh, that's just a trick to disarm me.
No, I ain't gonna try that. I just want you to light somewheres. Why don't you have a seat on that bench over there?
Oh, no. Did I hurt you?
No, Miss Janey. A little gal like you shouldn't be carrying around a loaded rifle. Mr. Gibbs, you take Miss Janey on home. Tell her grandfather he can have his rifle back in the morning.
Clark didn't do it. I know he didn't.
Easy now, sis.
You turn him loose. You can't make him confess to something he didn't do.
Clark's going to need a lawyer, Miss Janey. You tell Grandpa Logan that.
Come along, sis.
Can't I even talk to him, please?
Not now. In the morning.
You shouldn't be a deacon in our church. You're heartless and cruel and mean.
Pete, bring Mr. Matthews in here. Pete, you take off.
Yes, Marshal.
I heard a shot. Grandpa Logan been here?
That was Miss Janey. I sent her home with Mr. Gibbs. Sit down. Mr. Matthews, I've advised the Logans to get you a lawyer. You had a very strong motive for killing Mr. Smith. I think I can prove you had access to poison.
All right. You prove that.
Why don't you tell me the whole story? I think Judge Tobin will be lenient.
No, sir.
You still don't want to tell me why you tried to run away, huh?
Marshal, I've talked too much already.
You trying to shield someone?
Now, you just do what you have to do, Mr. Earp.
Listen, why don't you confess and get this whole miserable business over with? I can promise you an easy sentence, maybe a parole. Judge Tobin will be here tomorrow. Look, what's the sense in forcing this trial? Skinner Smith was a low-down, worthless character, but you put on me the burden of seeing that you're punished more than you should be. I don't expect you to consider my feelings, but what about Miss Janey? Don't you care about her?
I'm sorry, Marshal. Can I go back to the cell now?
All right. But you think about this.
Grandfather, don't you even feel sorry for Clark?
Sorry. I was beginning to admire the boy.
You're what?
Shotgun Gibbs says that he ain't confessed. That proves he's got real sand. Yep, I was wrong about Clark.
Then you think he's guilty?
Not the point at all, Janie.
Grandfather, are you yourself?
The point is that if Clark don't confess, they'll have to turn him loose.
Even after they caught him running out of town?
Don't signify, Janie. They got nothing but circumstantial evidence against Clark. No matter what Wyatt Earp tries to link together, the jury will acquit him hands down.
Then you will hire a lawyer for him?
Yes. Old Joe Garrison. The best lawyer in the whole state of Kansas. It's a sheer waste of money, though.
Of course it is, Grandfather. But at least I can sleep easy now.
I'm half asleep myself.
You've had your nightcap. Come on.
Help me, darling. Oh, it's way past my bedtime. You know, that Wyatt Earp might be a first-class man with a gun, but he ain't no legal genius. He'll get his comeuppance tomorrow.
I hope so, Grandfather.
Well, morning, Judge.
Howdy, Wyatt.
I got a murder case for you.
No? Well, who's the victim?
Skinner Smith.
That's logical. I warned Smith to leave Dodge months ago. Who killed him?
Young fellow works over the bank, Clark Matthews. It's only circumstantial evidence, though.
Well, let's go over and have breakfast and you tell me all about it, huh?
Yes, sir. I link blackmail to the fact that Clark Matthews tried to run away. And the further fact that Doc McCarty admits that he had access to poison.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to have to ask you for a bench warrant charging Mr. Matthews with first-degree murder.
Yes, I suppose you do.
It's a sound circumstantial case, isn't it?
If anyone but Skinner or Smith were the victim.
You mean a jury may not convict?
That's about it.
Well, how about a change of venue to some other town?
Well, I can't order that. Not unless you're willing to testify that the citizens of Dodge have made threats against you in the court.
No, sir.
Change of venue is customarily the right of the defendant, not the prosecution.
Well, I have no case.
Well, frankly, Wyatt, I don't even think you have the right suspect.
How's that?
Now, you suggested the possibility that Matthews was shielding someone. Hasn't it occurred to you that someone killed Smith to shield Matthews?
Well,
You said I could see Clark today.
Yes, sir. Oh, I think you've met Judge Tobin?
Yes, I have. How are you, sir?
Fine, thank you. And how's your grandpa?
Well, he's worse, I'm afraid.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Marshal Earp didn't help any when he arrested Clark. Grandfather had a very bad night. I had to send for Dr. McCarty.
Wyatt, I'll arrange for Miss Jane to see young Matthews. I suggest that you go on over and pay a visit to Grandpa Logan. He's a wonderful old man, and I think you owe him that courtesy.
Oh, yes, sir. I'll go right away.
But don't you mention Skinner Smith.
No, ma'am, I'll be careful. Howdy, Doc.
Morning.
How's Grandpa Logan?
Not good. Not well enough to be questioned.
I just stopped by for a social visit.
Well, he hasn't got much time left. Day, week.
No. I won't stay long enough to tire him.
Good.
Grandpa Logan?
Yep. Who is it?
Wyatt, sir.
Come in, Wyatt. Howdy. Did you hang that boy yet?
No, sir. Not yet.
I was afraid he'd confess. So I reckon I'd better tell. Read it.
The doctor said it was prussic acid.
Mostly strychnine. Some rattlesnake venom. Every time I went downtown, that Skinner would grub a chaw of tobacco from me. The other day I told him, take the whole thing. He took it. Yes, sir, he took the whole grub and chaw and tobacco.
How'd you know Skinner was trying to blackmail young Matthews?
No. That twisty skunk. He told me Clark had threatened him. I called that boy on the carpet, and I told him, you leave the killing to one who's poisoned coyotes and wolves. You fetch me my cane, Marshal. I'll go along with you.
No, sir. I'm burning this. But I don't want you to write anymore, Mr. Logan.
Well, now, I thank you kindly. For Janie's sake, I mean.
Yes, sir. For Miss Janie.
Shake hands with Mr. Earp. Thank you.
After all the trouble he's caused, I certainly will not.
You seem mighty sure.
Yes, sir, Mr. Matthews, I am very sure. Don't you tell anyone ever. This is a case for a good judge and a good lord. I'm just a deacon.
Thank you, sir.
Well, he cleaned up the country, the old Wild West country. He made law and order prevail. And none can deny it, the legend of Wyatt forever will live on the trail.
Oh, Wyatt Earp, Wyatt Earp, brave, courageous, and bold. Long live his fame, and long live his glory, and long may his story be told.